Aside from Purdue, no team in the Big Ten has taken the tumble that Iowa has in the last 5 or 6 years. The Hawkeyes won the Orange Bowl, a BCS game over Georgia Tech following the 2009 season. They finished ranked in the top 10, and that was pretty common territory for Iowa. Top 25 typically, and some spots in the top 10. They took on Florida twice in bowl games during the 2000s, defeated Nick Saban and LSU in the Capital One Bowl. They were regularly playing big-time teams in decent bowl games, if not top-tier bowl games, respectable bowl play and postseason play, finishing ranked for the Iowa Hawkeyes. So Kirk Ferentz has been just a smidge over 500 in the last 5 or 6 seasons, and if he can't win against this schedule, then he may truly be on the hot seat near the end of 2015. Mark Rogers TV looking at every Power 5 schedule across the nation. We're ranking them within the conference, and then we're going to throw them all together. We're going to rank them 1 through 66, including Notre Dame and BYU. So we've carved up the ACC and the SEC. Let's move on to the Big Ten, and we start with Iowa. They've got the easiest schedule in the Big Ten. So much like the ACC Atlantic versus the Coastal, the SEC West versus the East, the Big Ten East is better than the West, and especially Penn State and Michigan, sleeping giants. Now, if they get back to where they are expected to play, then it's really going to be lopsided. For right now, it's fairly balanced. Ohio State, Michigan State, the cream of the crop in the Big Ten, and even beyond that, the East a little bit better than the West. Again, it could get much worse with Michigan and Penn State emerging. So for right now, Iowa takes on the West, of course. Then their crossover games in 2015 are Maryland and Indiana. Indiana, one of the 2 or 3 worst programs in the Big Ten. Maryland, coming off a decent inaugural season in the Big Ten, finished at 4-4 in the conference, and they were bludgeoned in the bowl game against Stanford. So Maryland, mid-tier Big Ten team, Indiana at the bottom. That's what Iowa's got to deal with. Of course, the division play, it's a decent division with Nebraska, Wisconsin, Minnesota to be the cream of the crop in the Big Ten. They're all, aside from Wisconsin, fringe top 25 programs. Wisconsin more in the top 15 range. Iowa has refused to play anyone in quite some time out of conference, so that's where it really eases up. Illinois State to open it up on September 5th. Then they have the traditional matchup against Iowa State on the road. They play at home against Pitt. For some reason, Iowa and Pitt have chosen to play each other, not home and home, but home and home and home and home. And it's another date between the Panthers and the Iowa Hawkeyes. Iowa won that game at Heinz Field last season, and a return trip from the Pitt Panthers under Pat Narduzzi on September 19th. So that's the non-conference slate, basically, aside from a date with North Texas. Illinois State, Iowa State, Pitt, and North Texas. So it's 2 Power 5s for the Hawkeyes, but very manageable games against a mediocre Pitt team and a lower-rung Iowa State team that actually beat the Hawkeyes. Much to the grin of Hawkeye fans that I know, that won by the Cyclones last season. So it is the worst schedule in the Big Ten. So i.e. easiest schedule in the Big Ten. Kirk Ferentz makes some hay this year in 2015. You've got no Ohio State, no Michigan State, no Michigan, no Penn State. Again, it's the Western Division, it's Maryland, it's Indiana, and it's really nothing special outside of the conference. Need to hear from you on scheduling in the Big Ten, specifically Iowa, right here on Mark Rogers TV.